Hey, welcome back to World Entertainment, and this is the spoiler review for Alien Romulus. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I advise you not to watch this video until you have. But with that, I shall get into full spoilers. So there's only two major things to really spoil, and that's a character and the ending of the movie, because almost everything else you've seen in the trailers, which is really unfortunate. So the character that shows up that would have been fine, except they end up having a bigger part than they should have. They also mention information that they wouldn't have. So who is the character? Well, the character is Ash, and not a new version of him or a different one of him. No, it's actual Ash from the Nostromo, because the opening of the movie is a ship coming into the wreckage of the Nostromo, and they find in a big rock, which you've seen in the trailer, the rock that floats into like a cargo bay, that's the big chap. The big chap is in that, and they cut him out of that. You don't actually see the big chap when they cut him out. What you see is that you see the scientist walking off with something, and we go back to the rock and it zooms down and you see the imprint of the big chap within the rock. How the big chap is there and in a rock, don't know, it's never explained. Why it's amongst the wreckage of the Nostromo, don't know, it's never explained. How did they get Ash from the Nostromo, don't know, it's never explained. It's just, oh, do you remember this? Here you go. That's really kind of the only real nostalgia bit that goes with it, to a certain point. You've probably seen a lot of people saying it's just a big nostalgia bait fest. It really isn't. But Ash is there now. They never call him Ash, they call him Rook. He says his name is Rook. I don't remember whether Ash was meant to be Ash Rook or not, but he's calling himself Rook in this. And yes, it is a digitally imprinted Ian Holmes' face. That's the thing I spoke about in the non-spoiler review. For one of the effects that doesn't look great is that facial imprint. It's weird because it doesn't look great when the characters are with him, but at the end when he's on a screen it looks good. It looks fine. Problem is, you expect him to be there and just kind of give a tiny bit of information and then that's it. No, he plays a much bigger part than that, which was unfortunate and a bit stupid. I don't think they should have done that. And his whole thing is to complete the mission. The mission is to go get Andy to go and get, unfortunately, the black oil from Prometheus. Yeah. So we know how they end up coming up with the facehuggers for this movie. The problem is, it's never explained, shown, or spoken about. The fact that they are engineered by this whole space station. That's what they got the big chap with. They've reverse engineered its DNA right down to the black substance, which they're calling life or something. And that ends up playing a big part now, and which is also a major problem. So he's kind of, yeah, it's unfortunate they used it, and yes, they digitally used Ian Holmes' voice and stuff. It's just, I don't know why they did that. The part of the thing that they have information that he shouldn't have is he discusses Ripley blowing the xenomorph out of the air hatch of the escape shuttle. How would Ash know that? That's the problem. He wouldn't. He said there was a lone survivor who managed to blow the creature out of an airlock and blah blah blah, and it's the perfect organism and stuff. And I was sitting there going, Ash, you wouldn't have known that. You were pretty much destroyed and turned off at that stage. You wouldn't have the information that Ripley was survived, and you certainly wouldn't have the information that she blew it out of the airlock. And they asked the question of like, well, what is this organism? And he kind of looks up and they turn around and you see what's left of the big chap, which was practically destroyed. It's chained up, but he hints that it still was alive when they cut it out. This is the thing, that it had one more trick up its sleeve for the scientists, which was the acid blood and stuff. But whatever, I don't understand how it survived. But he plays too much of a role in it once he comes into it, and he has information that he shouldn't have. Which also includes, oh, by the way, he does refer to the black oil and the project for it as the Prometheus Project, which is like, the ending. The ending is the only thing left to talk about, because again, everything else you've seen in the trailers basically is just kind of back and forth of running away from xenomorphs. Yes, by the way, there is more than one xenomorph. There's a shit ton of them. No queen. There's actually no queen in it, but there's a shit ton of xenomorphs and facehuggers. The ending. So the scene we got shown in a trailer, which was unfortunate, or the clip of Kay's escape. Well, they did that reverse because it's not her trapped behind a door, Andy refusing to open the door, and them telling her to run away, and she runs away from the xenomorph, and the xenomorph goes after her. No, the xenomorph is after her first. That's the room she ends up in when she sees the bodies getting taken away. By the way, the bodies are Navarro and one of the guys, the guy who stuck the cattle prod thing into the cocoon of the xenomorph. How does he die? Well, the xenomorph bleeds the acid out of the cocoon onto his chest, burns his fingers away and everything, and then it just kind of pierces through his chest and just instantly kills him. Bit of a shit way he died, actually. Could have been a hell of a lot better. Kay then runs up to the door, sets the alarm off because access was denied. The guys managed to arrive, and then Andy refuses to open the door because he sees the xenomorph, and we see her getting taken. What we learn about her when they arrive to this space station is she's pregnant. None of them know, but she's pregnant. As she tells Rain, because she starts getting sick, and she's like, oh, I'm not sick, don't worry. And she's like, well, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I'm pregnant. Xenomorph takes her. They eventually go and find her. They're actually trying to get to the lab to get the specimens of the black stuff, because they upgraded Andy. This is how he goes into reboot mode when the facehuggers come out. Is that door can't open. He doesn't have access to that door, but if they upload one of the other chips into him, he could gain access. But it also means he gets the priority of completing the mission from Weyland-Yutani. So his thing is, I'll bring yous, we'll get the black oil, yous can bugger off to wherever yous are going, and I'll go back to the planet. Oh, and when Navarro had a freak out when the xenomorph was bursting out of her chest, they have 36 hours on the station before it hits the rings. She caused an accident on the thing that caused an explosion, or at least an engine rupture or something, that pushed the space station closer to the rings, so they actually only have 40 minutes. So all this now has to happen in 40 minutes. But either way, she gets taken. When they find her, Kay that is, when they find her, Andy tries to convince them to, hey, inject her with some of the black stuff. It'll cure. Because when they find it in the lab, they see a video of a dead rat and it's all broken and stuff, and they inject the black stuff into it and the rat ends up fine. They didn't see the rest of the video where the rat started freaking out and it exploded. But they're about to do it, and Rain says no, like, let's get her to the cryopods, we can have enough time to put her asleep, blah blah blah, and off we toddle. And they're like, Andy also explains, because she's bleeding, by the way, because of the xenomorph. Andy explains, like, oh, because she's bleeding so heavily, it's probably why they haven't impregnated her yet, like, with a xenomorph. To get her to the ship, they put her in the pod. All hell breaks loose. The dude dies. He gets pulled up by the Scorch. That's the alien's name, Scorch, the one with the scar, who just pretty much bites half of his face off, which was cool. They get back to the ship. They just kill all the xenomorphs. They get back to the ship, and off they toddle. And Renaissance Space Station crashes into the rings, and Ash is trying to still convince Andy, you gotta complete the mission, but he doesn't know that Rain changed the chips again, rebooted them. So he's like, it's the perfect organism, it needs to be complete, blah blah blah, and whatever. He ends up dying. They put Kay into the chamber and put her to sleep, and then Rain's getting ready to get into the chamber, like the cryo chamber, and she's putting the power cell in to boost it up, so it'll have the 9 years that it'll take for them to get there. But Kay's thing starts flashing get ready for the divisive. Oh, I forgot to actually mention before we got to that. The reason she's a bit is when she gets back to the ship and Rain goes back to get Andy, she injects herself with the black stuff. Yeah. Why? Don't know. It's like you took the word of an android who refused to open the door to let you out when a xenomorph was coming down. But you're gonna trust them that this stuff will make you better? Alright. Light starts flashing red. Rain opens it and she's fucking freaking out. And she pulls her out more and her belly's huge. And they're like, huh? And she gives birth to what looks like an alien egg. You're like, what the hell is that? And she's like, get it away from me. And Rain takes it and she wraps it up and she starts to run down, but she drops it because it starts to heat up. Like the acid starts coming in and it burns through down into the cargo bay. And she goes down and it's gone until we find it when it comes back for Mammy. This thing destroys the whole end of the movie. Is it a queen? No. Is it even a xenomorph? No. It's this 9 foot tall, skinny, weird albino looking thing with a weird tail that has the facial features and neck of the fucking engineers. Yeah, they brought it right back to Covenant and Prometheus. Yeah, why they did that, I don't know. And the thing picks up Kay and sticks that tongue thing that's from that weird type of face hugger that was in Prometheus. It has the same tongue. And it sticks it what looks like to the neck of Kay when Rain comes in to find her, who seems to all of a sudden be dead. That's the last we ever see of Kay. We don't know whether she's alive or dead. They kill this thing by having it in the cargo bay and just dropping the cargo bay into the rings. And her and Andy survive and off they toddle to the new planet. That's where the movie ends. By the way, there's no post-credit scenes or mid-credit scenes or anything like that. That whole ending ruins it, unfortunately. And again, is Kay dead, alive? Where the fuck did they put her? Don't know. You never see her again after they see that thing, like, with the sucker yoke stuck to her neck. So, no idea what happened with her. And I forgot to mention, there is one other thing that's quite cringy in it. It's the end of Scorch. Andy's the one who kills Scorch by dropping down on him because Scorch is about to grab Rain, which we see in the trailer. That's when she's holding onto the thing that's right there. He drops down with a gun, lands on it, and right before he shoots it, he says, "Get away from her." Then he shoots it, and then follows it up by, "You bitch." Yeah, they dropped in Ripley's 9 and did it really badly. But that is the spoilers for Alien Romulus. Stupid, weird engineer hybrid thing at the end destroys it. Ash ends up playing a big part of the movie with information he should have known. How the fuck he's still there and alive? Don't know. He should have been blown to smithereens. Even when you see the wreckage off the Nostromo, it's like, it's literally sheets of metal. It's like nothing would have survived that. Why the big chap was there? Don't know. How they reversed engineered it and stuff? Don't know. There's a lot that wasn't explained, which could be in a director's cut, who knows. But anyway, there's the full spoilers for Alien Romulus. So with that, I'll leave it there for this one. So like, share, subscribe. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.